the story, or one of the stories replicated across national dailies, was a very sad and nasty report about how that between 47 and 50 people, including women and girls, some other report says this number includes children, were kidnapped in a village in Marado local government area of Zamfara State. And now we understand as well that this is apparently not the first time such incident will happen across villages in that state, particularly in this particular local government. We have heard stories of kidnap. However, in this case, we're told that these bandits, as they are always referred to, came on motorcycles at about 1:30 a.m. Of course, that was the wee hour of that day, to take away all of these people. Now, residents are calling on the federal and state governments, that is the federal government as well as the Zamfara state government, to do something about this instant situation. Of course, as is always the case, the expectation is that the bandits will call, make demands by way of ransom, and then the community, in collaboration with the state government, will find a way to address their concerns and have their loved ones released back to them. Now the question perhaps is, for how long will this cycle continue? Experts have said there are two things fueling this situation. One, before now, they said, was the herder-farmer clash. In recent times, the major culprits that those who follow these issues now point to is illegal mining across the north-west of the country, particularly in Zamfara State. But whatever the case may be, are we making efforts to address these concerns? Because this is a matter of life and death, apparently. Are we making the right investment in terms of infrastructure, in terms of addressing gaps in security architecture, to ensure that this issue is brought to an end once and for all? We have seen or heard rhetorics from the state governor, Governor Lawal, in recent times about these issues. We're seeing the incumbent Governor Lawal and former Governor Matawale, now Minister of State for Defense, all right, have their own back and forth regarding who is to blame for the security situation in our states. While apportioning blame will not solve the problem, the question is, how do we ensure that the people in Zamfara State can go to bed at night, sleep with two eyes closed? For some who may not be in that state, is a local problem. However, we now realize that insecurity in one part of the country has implications for several other parts of the country. I'm joined by Global Television's in-house security and political analyst, Professor Ibrahim Abubakar, on the program this morning. Prof, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much, and good morning.
I'd like us to begin with how we got to where we are now. I mean, you have followed this strategy from the very beginning. At the point, it was Boko Haram, was insurgency. Those were the two phenomena, so to say. But today, there's a bit of very unpleasant evolution, in such a way that you're not hearing banditry, you're not hearing Lokalawa group, and so on and so forth. Let's drill down to Zamfara State. What exactly makes it peculiar when it comes to insecurity, especially in the northwest of the country?
Thank you very much. We try to forget histories and scenarios altogether in this part of the country. You should know that some years ago, the people of Zamfara were dying of lead.
Right.
Lead poisoning and others. The government did not address it. We felt it was just an issue of Zamfara and the rest. We did not go into investigating the activities that led to that poison.
Right.
And that gear up, we try to stockpile issues before attending to them. And we really don't like reprimanding anybody. Some other group of the people are big shots that they are untouchable. The north fundamentally is a vulnerable place where we give accolade to people who are subjecting us to poverty. And for a time, everybody now believed that they have to do something drastic to accumulate these riches, not wealth. Fundamentally, it grew up from there to some extent when the intelligent cops couldn't come in to do anything about the situation. So if we want to really address this Zamfara issue, we have to go back to the basics. What really brought this issue? How did we get here? And what is the way forward? How did we get here in Zamfara? We got here because of neglect of attributed issues that now fury up into what we are seeing today, whether we call it Boko Haram, banditry, kidnapping, whatsoever name we call it, insurgency. It comes back to the elementary foundations of these issues. What are the primary objectives? What is the government supposed to do at such situations? These are the right way to go. Then we further narrow it down to the situation where we are today. Because when the lead poisoning issue came up, it becomes handled by the medical team. So where was the security team? Remember that even in medicine or in health, we still have health and medical security. So we have not trained anybody or any organization on these areas. So we are totally blind to security, and we are going into the protective. So where do you protect what you don't know? That is always my question. But then, apart from that scenario and other scenarios that come up, let's come back to this present dispensation where everybody knows that a sitting governor in Zamfara was married to daughters of two prominent northerners. These prominent northerners are two good pals. So we have to sit down and say, why should these two good pals give their daughter out to a sitting governor? Why? What was their interest? Why the sitting governor? Yes, the sitting governor was married to one of them before he became governor. But the second one came when he was a governor. And what happens thereafter? So, when we are not asking questions, when we are not looking from a scenario of where we are going to and where we are coming from, then there is a problem. There's a lacuna. There's a lacuna because we don't question scenarios, and it rises from that scenario to another pillar. When it becomes too much for us, we start crying foul. These are things that we are supposed to have contained. It can still be contained. Very well. It can still be contained, but then we have to look at the primary issues, look at the basics, and look at the secondary issues before we start finding a solution to them. That is another part. We should also understand that we also ask the question of where is the Zamfara good? One of the former governors of Zamfara State, I don't want to call names on this program, brought the gold bars from Zamfara. So where are the gold bars today?
Are they not supposed to be with the CBN since that's a natural resource? That's
So why didn't we have gold refineries also exploring this gold for the benefit of Zamfara State?
Is that not within the purview of the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development?
Before the purview, the Ministry of Solid Minerals was there before the gold bars were brought by the governor. So what has the governor and the government of Zamfara done about the gold bar? What has the federal government done? Why didn't investors come in and take over the gold industry? Because I think if people in Zamfara are benefiting from the gold alone, nobody will come from the situation of unrest we are into today. So what happens to the gold bar? How do they get this gold bar? Because you must have getting the materials, filter them out, put them in a funnel, melt them into gold to get the gold bar. So what process did they follow that time to bring the jingle of gold bars?
So, Prof, are you categorically saying that the level of insecurity we've come to see in Zamfara is directly in correlation with minerals?
Yes, very well. Very well. There is no two ways about it. And they know themselves. They know those who are into it, those who are illegally doing it, those who are into it, those who are benefiting from it, those who are recruiting the so-called boundaries, that because they do not come from the air.
So that sounds a bit hopeless. Pardon me, because when you say the state actors themselves know exactly what the problems are, and those who are the architects, and then nobody seems to be doing much to address it. Are you saying this is just a dead end for not just Zamfara but for the fight against insecurity?
When you're talking of that is why I say we leave the element of situations into the wrong places. Even in the Niger Delta agitation, it streamed from the scenario of politics of 1999 to 2007. This boys' agitation was actually, they were political talks. And when the people elected was not making them useful, they came out and revoked. And some people taught them what to do. They started kidnapping, and from kidnapping they started stealing crude oil. And that was a big market for all of them. Tom Polo, Bolov, Tom Ateke, Asari Dokubo, and the rest. And today they are men they give honors to, when we are not supposed to give them honors. So also it creeps to the northeast and the northwest today, and it's spreading to the southeast and the rest part of Nigeria. So it is a spread where you give people honor. When OPC was formed, who was Gani Adams in Nigeria? But today you must honor Gani Adams. So people get relevant when they are not supposed to be relevant.
So what would you say, for example, in terms of this narrative about giving honor to whom it is not due? Given your own position on this matter, when you have a situation where we have seen governors, some of them past governors, others serving governors, who say that one of the things we must do going forward to address these issues of insecurity of any kind, particularly in the north, is to grant what is called amnesty to bandits. So what's your position on that?
You are granting amnesty. There are rules that goes with amnesty. One, you must accept that you want to be reformed. Two, you must know who was financing you. Three, you must know the source of your arms. Four, you must know the source of your training. and the conduct of your operations. We must know how you carry out your activities. We must know your logistics. So there are fundamental 10 areas which are critical that your recruitment, these 10 areas which are critical in security must be well known, disabled, disarmed, incorporated before you are granted amnesty. You cannot just go commit all committable and you are granted amnesty. Amnesty for what? If 2 or 3 people are granted amnesty today, what of the remaining 100? They form another group. So we are doing it the wrong way, and we are saying you should fall back because of the same political gladiators. They want to give amnesty because they don't want their names to be mentioned.
Is that what you think?
Yes, that is just the truth. You want to carpet the process because you don't want your name to be mentioned. You want it being done speedily because you don't want them you be informed. But when the activities were going on, you were the beneficiary. So a lot of them know that they have benefited from this and they just want to maintain what they are benefiting from.
So how can we address the issue of illegal mining? I mean, the whole thing appeared to have come to a head a few months ago when even up to a place like Oyo State Governor Makinde came out and said that dozens of mining companies in Oyo were not even formally regularized or regulated by the authorities. That's in Western Nigeria, Southwest Nigeria. And the case is apparently worse up north, for example. So what do we do about illegal mining? Because we understand that there are even Chinese people who are part of this whole mix right now. Is it such a complicated and bad situation that cannot be fixed?
Yeah, it's something we can fix. Just as I said, we have not trained our security personnel on what to do. Let me give you an instance. When Julius Berger was constructing the road from Mina to Kotongura, we have a place we call Garden Tejina or High Tejina on the road. Julius Berger was there for over 1 year or so. All they were doing was taking away mineral resources from that place. The total sum of the contract and what they took away was more than 10 times or 20 times the total contract sum, and nobody challenged them. And illegal money is going through every day. I went to Ogun State and I saw vehicles moving from that axis of Idiroko and the rest. And at a point I said, please, let me see what is actually there. I tested and I said, this is lithium. And that activity was going on. And even when they were arrested, the custom authority ordered for the release of those vehicles immediately from the presidency. These are the things that we face, and these are the procedures that happens every day. So if such activity has been going on for years, more than 10 years and the rest, you should know how much the nation is losing. So most governors and ministers we appoint, the executives don't even know the minerals we have. Like they really said, from Saki in Oyo State down to some areas of Oyo has a lot of minerals deposit. Most governors don't even know what they have in their state as minerals. If you ask them why do they want to become chief executives of the state, they have no answer to give you than I want to keep it in record that I have made it and I was once the governor of the state. So also our presidents. They have no reason because they don't know how to improve on human capital resources.
That means you're saying inadvertently that Bishop Matthew Kuka was right when he said that no president was ever ready since 1999 to lead this country.
It's not even 99 alone. Apart from the generation, the first generation of our nation, when it comes to Abubakar, Tafawa Balewa, Amadu Bello, Azik, Awo, Mbadiwe, and a lot of them
from that generation,
who were looking at Nigeria critically, from Abu Rossi to the present day, were just people who came in because they just want power. So you should know the radicals that bring Abu Rossi into power. So he was not set to become the head of state. So also Gowon. So also Murtala Mohammed. So also Obasanjo. Obasanjo was Murtala. What we know that time was that he Murtala keep the ball rolling and Obasanjo score it. Shagari came just because they wanted democracy to return back to Nigeria. Not because he was prepared. In fact, if you look the runs of 1979 to at that period, it was a cloud of I want to become. Okay, let's just choose the person that will not give us headache as we hand over as military men. It comes like that when Buhari took over to when Babangida took over. It was a power play issue, and Babangida put Sholiko there, and it was thrown away by Sani Abacha. Sani Abacha kicked the bucket, and Abdul Salam took over. And we all know that Obasanjo was not prepared to become the president of Nigeria. He was just coming out of prison, or let's put it, incarceration, and they gave it to him because they want to keep some record to themselves. So nobody since 1966, January 15 to today, has already planned for Nigeria ahead.
All right, let's begin to wrap up now, Prof. As it stands today, it has already shown that the security issues of our states and across that northwestern belt is quite, if you like, grave. But let's talk about the security operatives. I mean, we have the security men cutting across police, NSCDC, Army, Air Force, and what have you. How is it that we still are having this situation regardless of all of these things I mentioned? Is it that we are not overwhelmed as a country and say, well, this is the phase that we have to deal with, and let's just allow it be?
So many things are happening in the security world that people don't understand. And let's bring the understanding. I won't advocate for something I can't really project on. Then, secondly, what happens after I've mortgaged my personality, my life, and everything to a system that is not functioning? One, from the first cadre of security to the last, we are empty, and we refuse to enhance our intellectual and intelligent levels. Two, up till today, we have not deployed technology because we don't even know the format that brings technology, because you cannot just deploy any technology into an area that you don't know. Three, a lot of people who are service members and managers don't even know some certain areas in Nigeria.
In terms of the geography of the country?
Yes. So you cannot say, I start serving and I was an ADC, or I was a chief detail to this politician, to that politician, and I came to this table to become the chief executive, and you think that you are going to be effective. No. You are just a political jobber to me. You are not a professional. So you must have knowledge of your environment at any time. And when they call you, you are not supposed to say, which local government are you talking of? Or where is that local government in this country? I'm just hearing that name for the first time. It is madness for a security service manager to make such assertions. So these are the things that we have to really look at. And when we look at them, we should also give room for people who are actually detailed in knowledge to handle the security situation. I will give you, people has asked a lot of time why the British police not carrying arms. Smith Steve was not a policeman, but they gave him the sole administrator of the police in Britain, and it changed the narratives. And that is why the British police don't carry arms, because he was a security professional.
But he wasn't a police.
And he was never a policeman. Professionals, this is only where we are failing. A lot of the professionals who serve with governments are not uniform members. They are not. The moment you make it a uniform member, then you are going to lose it out, because esprit de corps must work. Colleagues must come in. Family and friends must come in. That is why we get it wrong all the time. We need somebody who will stabilize the security situation and then hand over to another person who will take over from him. That is only where we can get it right. So we go back to the root. You can't be cutting the leaves. Yeah, we cut the leaves, not even the branches. Not to talk of the stem
or the roots.
The root is far from us.
Interesting. So on a final note, what must we do in this case, whether the state governments or the federal government? Because whether you like it or not, every time it happens, the state governments will turn to the federal government and say that security is the exclusive preserve of the federal government. Ironically, the state government is called the chief security officer of his states.
Yes.
So how do we strike a balance in this regard in ways that are practical and bring solution?
Yeah, the federal government can actually take over the state for now, take over the whole nation for now. But then in the states, remember, we still have the Security Council, the state security councils, who report back, which the governor is the chairman. So they report back all the activities of the states. So we can program a system where in every senatorial district we have what we call a surveillance monitoring system, also a protocol protective system for the people, and that reverts back to the state, which I will call the terminal, the state terminal system. Then we expand back to the main terminal, which is the centralized terminal system. So when there is an advert of activities, it is quickly noticed by everybody, from those senatorial districts to the state to which I call the feed terminal, the state terminal, and the main terminal. So you can always say this is exactly what has happened in this place. By so doing, you have already finished the whole problem. You have solved it without going anywhere.
All right, Professor Ibrahim Abubakar, I would like to say a big thank you to you for, again, coming to share with us very valuable thoughts of yours this morning. We're taking a quick break, everyone. When we return, we'll talk about the war against corruption and what exactly it is that we have recorded by way of success, especially from the anti-graft agency standpoint. All of that coming